I mean, the job of procurement professionals has been quite tough over the last 2 years in managing the global disruptions from many sources, being geopolitical challenges, being the challenges still resulting from COVID, and many more. So the top 3 strategies I would deploy is, firstly, I'd look really internally. What can I do with specifications, work with R&D, work with my colleagues from supply chain to really look at more simplified specifications that could be potentially requiring less materials and more broadly available materials. Secondly, I would also look into reducing the global setup of my supply network and have many more suppliers that are producing the same item, at least 2. So much fewer single source relationships. And lastly, if I hadn't partnered and started partnering with my suppliers before the crisis or during the crisis, now it's really the moment to find solutions that are win-win, that you communicate with each other ahead of time, that you provide solid forecasts, that you find business opportunities or ways to engage each other and work together that are truly win-win, so that you become a customer of choice for your most strategic suppliers. The suppliers are incredibly important for business success. So just a few examples. If you think about in a manufacturing business, typically the external spend with suppliers accounts for roughly 80% of the turnover. About 2/3 of your CO2 footprint are in your extended supply network. Many of the product and service innovations originate from your supply base. So working in a very close and a very sort of partnering relationship with your most strategic suppliers is incredibly important for business success in times of disruption, in times of challenges, but also in times where you want to grow your business. So the role that procurement plays in partnering and in supplier management is really to have a very, I would say, segmented approach. I think there are not enough procurement professionals in your team typically, so that you can devote the same amount of time to your strategic suppliers versus your more tactical suppliers. So having a very segmented approach to managing your suppliers is number 1. Number 2 is then obviously focus on your strategic suppliers. These could be suppliers you've had in your supply network for many years, but these could also be startups, scale-ups, suppliers that you don't count into your network. So you need to find a way to put together the right suppliers, supply ecosystems to address your most challenging questions and tasks that you cannot resolve yourself. And lastly, I think the procurement professional has a role to play, like orchestrating, like bringing together the respective people, let's be on the technical side, from the supplier with the technical folks in R&D, in supply chain, in finance, but also the CEOs from both organizations, to really understand each other deeply and then to work out what you can achieve extraordinary together. I think 2023 will be largely dominated by the trends that have impacted procurement in 2022. So a bit of a continuation. We'll have the impact of macroeconomic challenges. We have a strong impact of geopolitical interruptions, and we have challenges that are obviously resulting from the climate crisis. So at the same time, in 2023, there is a huge expectation of a CPO and the procurement teams to help fix the challenges in the bottom line, obviously save costs, produce savings, come up with great ideas to spend less. At the same time, it is today and it is now that we set the scene, I would say, for the journey in 5 years, or the journey starting out for where we want to be in 5 years, particularly when we think about the challenges but the opportunities from ESG. I'm thinking about the impact of new legal regulations in Germany, but also in the EU, about driving more transparency in the extended supply networks, which needs to be complied actually from January 1st. So that is something procurement professionals need to build in 2023 much more into their agenda than ever before. And what that means actually for many procurement folks is that they need to use data and analytics in particular to better understand who they're working with, what the credentials of their extended supply base are, who are the right people to work with, who are the people they should stop working with as they do their normal jobs anyway, go out and do strategic sourcing, go out and identify new suppliers. I think bringing all of this together, solving the sort of here and now, the very short-term challenges that I've described a little bit earlier, but also setting the scene and starting to build out the future of the supply network is what is a particular challenge. And I always summarize that a CPO and their leaders in the team must have some sort of ambidextrous leadership skills so that they can, as I said, focus on the today whilst also planning to deliver the tomorrow.